The Milwaukee County Historical Center houses a museum featuring a wide variety of exhibits on topics of local historical significance. The center also contains an extensive library and archives of government records, photo collections, and personal papers. Executive Director Robert Teskey says it all began with the founding of the Milwaukee County Historical Society over 60 years ago.
The Historical Society was established in 1935, coincidentally on the 100th anniversary of the founding of Milwaukee County, and it was established by a group of volunteers with deep roots in the Milwaukee community, many of them older people, but volunteers all who were anxious to see the history of the community preserved in the form of artifacts, documents, and photographs available at that point. And the mission and objective of the Society, which they established some 65 years ago, essentially remains the same today. The idea is to provide for the general public access to artifacts, documents, photographs reflecting the history of Milwaukee County, and to enable folks to learn more about the county through exhibitions and the materials housed in the research and reference collection.
What about the people who are members of the society? What draws them? Is it a historical knowledge they're looking for? Is it a volunteering kind of a thing? What's their interest?
I think we really appeal to a number of different constituencies within the community. Certainly those interested in the history find a wide range of resources available here at the Society, from the research and reference collections in the library to information and artifacts featured in the exhibitions. We do also appeal to special groups such as genealogists who are looking into their family histories, records of which we have a great deal of material on. But we also appeal to folks, younger folks, school groups, as many as 3,000 students a year tour our exhibitions and make use of the facility. And in addition to that, others looking for volunteer opportunities are certainly welcome. We have a group of over 30 docents who lead the tour groups that I mentioned through the museum, and we're especially proud of the fact that many of our docents, unlike most facilities, are male, an unusual circumstance, and one which we're delighted to be able to share with the public.
The building that we are sitting in is a historic place as well on the National Register of Historic Places. Let's talk a little bit about the building itself. First of all, the outside. When this building was built, the Second Ward Savings Bank many years ago, the location looked quite different than it does now.
It did indeed. Pere Marquette Park was not where it's currently located, and the shape of the building was defined by the fact that Plankinton Avenue extended north of Kilbourne and joined 3rd Street. So it formed a triangle, and that triangle of land is where this building and a number of others prior to it were constructed. The beauty of that is that it means all 3 sides of this building are beautifully finished, and it leaves us with an architectural gem to share with the community. The building was originally designed by the architectural firm of Kirchhoff and Rose in 1911, completed in 1913, and housed the Second Ward Savings Bank, which was known as the Brewers Bank because of the large number of figures from the Milwaukee's brewing industry who were on its board and who did their banking here. It was constructed with a mezzanine only on the south end of the building, and later added mezzanines on the east and west side. At that original point, however, with no mezzanines on the east and west side, 2-story cast iron windows just poured light into the interior of the structure, and slowly but surely we hope to return the interior of the building to that same appearance, and to provide an experience for our visitors that shares the architectural heritage of the site along with the other information included in our library and exhibitions.
Quite a quite an elaborate display of architectural design inside.
It really is. The interior includes, I think, a total of 7 or 8 vaults, most of which are used now to house the records and other documents that are the property of the Historical Society. But there's beautiful marble work, scagliola columns which surround the central atrium, and beautiful ornamental plaster work on the ceilings, more of which we understand is actually hidden beneath the acoustical tile on the second floor as well, and which we hope eventually to be able to expose.
How important is having this kind of a building to the kind of displays that you have here?
It's really very important because it gives us an opportunity to share with the audience not only the information included in the exhibition, but something of the experience of going through a building that's really part of Milwaukee's history and heritage. Historic preservation is another of the things that the Historical Society is involved in, and certainly being able to share with our visitors the interior of a building from the turn of the last century is an important part of the experience that we'd like to convey to them. It's an added benefit, if you will, to the opportunity to view the exhibits on display or make use of the library. To do so in historic surroundings is a nice perk.
You'll find long-term and temporary exhibits when you enter the Historical Center. The idea is simple: to gain a greater appreciation of the community's rich heritage and a better understanding of present-day life.
The old idea that we can learn from history, and sometimes it's hard learning and sometimes the same mistakes are made over and over again, but as you look back you can learn things, and a lot of times they're very relevant to the issues that we're speaking to today.
Something old, something new is the theme behind one of the current exhibits, about 20 bridal gowns worn by Milwaukee brides dating from the 1870s to the present. The way the exhibits are presented is an important aspect of the museum.
Things that are, 100 years old, and then having the story to go along with it, the information, the people that are tied into it. So there's a little bit more depth than just seeing an object that's 100 years old. There's the history that we're able to research in the library that goes along with it.
You may have noticed a black dress among the wedding gowns.
From what I've been told, that was a dress that was used for, say, if a person's parents or one of their parents had died, and so the person was still in mourning. So, yeah, it sort of stands out there amongst all the white ones. What we have tried to do with that particular exhibit is to give a good general background of Milwaukee's ethnic groups, and there's a little section that covers basically each of the main groups. And what we want to do is to spin off of that, using that as a basis, but then to go into some more particular type exhibits. That looks at the Milwaukee River and related subject matter to activities and historical events that have occurred on the river or close to the downtown area. And that will be up through early, I'd say through the end of April. The last part of May, we're going to be installing another major exhibit that will be up for probably about a year, and that will be on the Civil War.
That new display will replace this one that's been around for quite some time.
That basically is an introduction to the wars that Milwaukee residents have participated in. It goes back to the Spanish-American War, the Civil War, World War I, World War II, and it's one of the exhibits, again, that has been in the museum for a number of years, and we're looking at revitalizing it and updating it a little bit. I find all the history-related information new and exciting, and the photographs I find very interesting. I have an interest in black and white photographs and historical photographs. I just find them particularly interesting. Mm-hmm. And so when we're doing an exhibit and find that we have this wealth of information in our library, it's just very exciting.
While the building is now exchanging ideas rather than currency, there are a few leftovers from its bank days among some long-term exhibits.
The bank teller's cage, that probably will stay in place because it's one of the few remaining elements other than the vault doors that is part of the bank as it originally was. And of course we have a person, a mannequin standing back there as if they're signing forms and that. But it really does give a feel of what the old-time banks were like. And the linotype machine that you were making reference to, that goes back to when people, and including newspapers, anybody else that was printing anything, they had to set each piece of type by, well, initially by hand, and then the linotype machine came in and that expedited it a little bit. But compared to what we do with computers today, it's comparable probably to a Model Ford or a Model T. One of the things that probably has been around the longest and has not changed is the E-line gallery, which is based on when the E-line house had been torn down. A number of the pieces were brought over to the museum, and one of the rooms has a portion of their stairwell into some of the other woodwork, plus some photos of what the house was actually like.
The Society hopes to revise its exhibits quite a bit more in the future to make more of our past come alive, to bring more visitors to the center. Among the newest, an exhibit featuring St. Benedict the Moor Parish and School, one of the first African-American schools in the city. The exhibit includes photos and objects from the school's alumni.
If I can do a plug, one of the things we're always looking for are photos for the library so that we don't have to go outside, that we can, research ourselves, and also artifacts that people would donate to the Historical Society so that we can broaden the base of representative examples of various things. We're trying to get more things in here to provide people with a broader range of things to see, and also to keep them coming back and let them know that there's a lot happening. There really is a wealth of information, of not only visual information, but of written information and labels that people can pick up, things that they probably would not normally get to know. And it's just interesting.
The research library of the Milwaukee County Historical Society may be your destination if you're searching for your family roots. In addition to genealogy information, you'll find a wide variety of facts about the history of the city and county.
The first thing I would say to that is, because if the Historical Society wouldn't take or accept this material, a lot of it wouldn't be available for the general public. We are the official county repository for county records, so when the county is through with the records as far as their usefulness to them, they offer them to us, such as coroner's inquests, naturalization records, court cases, things like that. So if we wouldn't take them, unfortunately they go to the landfill, so then nobody would have access to those type of records. We're a major source of information for Milwaukee County history, especially if you're doing family genealogy. Most of the records that we have are one of a kind, unique to us. There is no other place in Milwaukee County that has some of the records that we have, so if you couldn't get them here, you couldn't get them anywhere. So that's part of the uniqueness of our library. We're not like a standard library in the sense that we don't circulate things. You have to use everything here, but we try to make things available for the general public. We charge a nominal fee to come in, $1 a day to use the library if you're not a member. The only reason we do that is just to try to make sure that people that are coming in here are serious researchers and they're not just kind of here to browse, and because the more you handle the objects, the more damage that tends to happen to things. So we try to limit access to things in that way, so it's just not general browsing. But it's a unique facility, and because of our knowledge of some of the records that we have here, Kevin and I were able to help researchers. Because of what we know about collections, we can kind of direct you to the different things that we have and maybe cut down on your research time so that you're not spending a bunch of time looking for things that maybe don't exist. So I think we offer a lot of services for people. We do research letters for people all over the world. I mean, I've got a stack of letters here from England and Canada and places like that. I mean, we have people that want us to do research that can't come to Milwaukee, so we do offer that as a service.
The research library has personal papers from some of our former mayors, from many of the city's early industrialists, business records from many local companies. You can find civil court cases here from 1837 to 1931, coroner's records from 1873 to 1935, thousands upon thousands of manuscripts, books, photos. How many?
People have asked us that, well, how many photos do you have? And I mean, we've never really counted them, but I'd say it's in the hundreds of thousands. We probably have the best photo collection in Milwaukee County. Various topics such as building files, street files, churches, schools, businesses, individuals and family groups, portraits, things like that, that highlight Milwaukee's history, and they're all from different time periods. Our manuscript collections, which are like the personal papers, documents, diaries, ledgers of people, organizations, and clubs, we have approaching 3,000 collections of those types of manuscripts. Very tight building. We make use of every space in here. You know, since the building was a former bank, we use the vaults for storage. A lot of people think that we keep really special things in the vaults. It doesn't really mean that. It's just that because it's a storage space for us, and so we utilize every square inch of this building for storage. A lot of people are under the assumption that we would have things for other counties because we are the biggest city in the state, but we do only have Milwaukee County records. Now, we do have some small things that pertain to Wisconsin in general, but I mean, our main emphasis of our collection and our whole policy on collecting things is Milwaukee County items. So if people are looking for something for Dodge County or Dane County or something like that, they need to go to those particular counties. And most counties do have historical societies. And we do have a list here. If people want to know where they should go to look for other records, we can kind of give them some advice on where they could go. I go out and I talk to genealogical groups and try to make them aware of the type of things that we have here, so that if people have those kinds of things at home and they're thinking of what they should do with them, that they might actually donate them to us. We try to show them that they are valuable and it is the type of thing that you should consider giving to the Historical Society.
Bailey says the Historical Society has a lot to offer, and it's a shame more people don't take advantage of it.
A lack of exposure to it, and I think a lot of people are unaware of the unique place that Milwaukee has in U.S. history, if not world history. Milwaukee's a founder in a lot of ways of a lot of different inventions, prominent people, schools of thought, things like that. I mean, Milwaukee's been a forerunner in a lot of those areas, and I don't think people are really aware of a lot of that. And it's a shame because we have really unique things here that people, should come down and take a look at.
We are back now with Bob Teske, the Executive Director of the Milwaukee County Historical Society. We've taken a look around the building. What do I, as a member of the public, have to do if I'd like to come and see what you have here?
Simply stop by to visit at your convenience. The Historical Society is open to the public free of charge. We're open 7 days a week from 9:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, from 10 till 5 on Saturday, and from 1 till 5 on Sunday. Donations are, of course, gladly accepted, but there is no admission fee to visit the museums or the exhibitions.
Let's talk about your funding sources then at this point. Partly from Milwaukee County, partly from a lot of other areas.
Exactly, just like many other private nonprofit organizations. Because Milwaukee County actually owns our building, and because we're the repository for Milwaukee County's non-current records, the county has very graciously supported the Historical Society at the level of about half of our annual operating budget. But the remaining half, which covers everything from salaries to program expenses expenses related to the development of exhibitions, the housing of the library materials, and so forth, are raised through a number of other different sources. Memberships certainly account for a significant portion. We've been fortunate over the last several years to obtain a number of grants and sponsorships from different private foundations, different public sources such as the Wisconsin Humanities Council and the Wisconsin Arts Board, and also from corporate sponsorships of a variety of our different programs. But we're always looking to assure the continuation of the Society and its programming activities through the acquisition of additional funding to support that operation.
Always looking for help, right?
Always are.
This may be where you are centered, but there are also 3 historical homes that the Society sponsors. Let's talk about those first of all. Kilbourne Townhouse, once located in Milwaukee, now in Shorewood.
That's right. Originally, the Kilbourne Townhouse was located on 4th and Court Street, just a little bit north of our current location here. During the Depression, it was in danger of being torn down, and a joint effort by the County Historical Society, the county parks, and the Colonial Dames allowed the house to be moved from its original location to Estabrook Park as a WPA project. It was restored there, and with the help of both the parks and the Colonial Dames, the Society has operated it as an historic house museum since that time, some 60 years ago. It's a wonderful example of federal-style interior decoration, another lovely neoclassical exterior with a pillared front porch. Anyone who's been through Estabrook Park, I'm sure, has noticed it as they've proceeded up Estabrook Drive.
Let's head west a little bit to the city of Wauwatosa and the Damon House.
The Lowell Damon House is the oldest residence, or one of the oldest residences in the city of Wauwatosa. It was donated to the Historical Society by the Rogers family, later residents of the house, and since the early 1940s, it's been another property that the Society is responsible for. It includes wonderful period furnishings. This house, like the other 2 the Society owns, all date to the 1840s and provides an exceptional experience of what living in this community or in any community in southeastern Wisconsin might have been like at that point in time.
The third home that you operate, the David Curtin home in Greenfield.
Right. The Curtin House is the third property the Historical Society is responsible for. It's on Grange, a little bit west of 84th Street, and it was the boyhood home of Jeremiah Curtin, who went on to become a famed folklorist and linguist, the translator of Sienkiewicz's Quo Vadis, well known as a researcher who traveled throughout the world, including locations such as Russia, Ireland, worked with a variety of different Native American tribes. And the house was restored in 1976 as Milwaukee County's bicentennial project and is open to the public on weekends, particularly during the summer, but also by appointment for group tours as well.
The Society is also involved in other historical aspects of life in Milwaukee County, and perhaps we could talk about those as well.
Sure. As I mentioned a little earlier, we're actively involved in historic preservation as the home of the Milwaukee County Landmarks Committee. That program is celebrating its 25th anniversary during 2001, and we hope to bring special emphasis to that program through exhibitions and a variety of other activities this year. The Landmarks program has, over that 25-year span, designated nearly 90 properties within Milwaukee County as historic landmarks, and we hope to share all of those more broadly with the general public during this 25th anniversary year.
You have audio and visual presentations available for school groups, for other groups within the community as well. Some you would request a little fee for, some not?
A small fee, a modest fee for the use of the audio and video materials, and they're also available for purchase. For instance, if a school might have a need to use them on a regular basis. Originally slide tape programs converted to video, they deal with such topics as fashion in Milwaukee and the early history of the community in a video program called From Settlement to Civil War.
If I'm interested in becoming a member of the society, what should I do?
Membership is certainly encouraged and welcomed. You can get in touch with us here at the Historical Society either by calling 273-8288 or by stopping by at 910 North Old World 3rd Street. We have a variety of different levels of membership, both in the Society and in our Friends organization, which sponsors a wide range of different programs related to the history of the community.